Hi, boys and girls. We're going to take a look at our assignment from page 224 and 225 in our Envision hardback book. So I want you to make sure you're on the correct page. So remember, this is your hardback book, and we are going to be on page 224 and 225. So let's take a look at this lesson. And this is all about fractions and writing fractions when you're looking at part of a whole. So you will notice right here, it says a fraction is a symbol that names equal parts of a whole, and a fraction with a numerator of 1 is a unit fraction. That means one of the pieces of the whole. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Now, the word symbol might be confusing for people because when they say is a symbol, what we're actually meaning is it's a number. So a number can be considered a symbol that represents a specific value or quantity, which means if I say the number 1, everybody knows what 1 looks like. 1 cookie, 1 pizza. If I said 2, everybody would understand that 2 oranges or 2 bananas or 2 glasses would be a symbol for that amount or that value or that quantity. So when we say a fraction is a symbol, we actually could also put in there it's a number that represents part of a whole number. So now let's take a look at our assignment for today. It's 1 through 17, but I want to get us started on this assignment. So I want you to make sure you have a piece of paper. Please make sure to put your name, the date, which today is the 4th. So you're going to put 2-4-21. And please also make sure you put the page number, which is 224 and 225 of your Envision book. Now, let's take a look at number 1. It says, in 1-3, use the figure below to answer these questions. So number 1 says, write the unit, and remember, unit means one of the pieces. So write the unit fraction that represents each part, that's very important, each part of the whole. So when I draw, I'm going to draw this on my paper. I'm going to put number 1, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. And I'm going to break it up into 3 equal parts as best as I can. That one's a little bit bigger. So each one of these pieces would have a value or a unit of 1/3. So this is one of 3 pieces. This is one of 3 pieces, and this is also one of 3 pieces. So I'm good, Miss Monica. Yeah. So when you go to label each one of these, you are saying that it's one of the 3 pieces. So our denominator, we count the number of pieces in the whole. That's going to be our denominator for each one of those fractions. And then each piece is one of the 3 pieces. So that's how we would label that. Number 2 asks us, and actually 2 and 3 kind of go together. How many parts are orange? Now, notice it's only asking us about these orange pieces. But remember, the whole is 3 pieces. So our denominator is 3, but the parts that they're asking us to count are orange. So how many parts are orange? Well, there are 2 parts that are orange. 2 parts orange. 2 parts orange. Now, they want us to take that information and write it as a fraction. So remember, we have 1, 2, 3 equal parts, in that rectangle. But now we're going to count the parts that are orange. And so we put that number in the numerator because we're counting the parts that are orange out of or from the 3 equal parts. Okay? Number 4 asks us, and remember, you can pause this at any time to make sure you are staying caught up with the assignment. So number 4, in the example above. So the example above is this pan right here of fruit bars. So these fruit bars were cut into pieces. Now, let's just look at our problem. It says in the example above, what fraction names all of the parts in the pan of bars? So when we talk about the whole pan, we're talking about before these 2 pieces were gone, all of the parts. Notice how they have it here, all of the parts. Now, since these 2 are gone, there's still all of the parts. It's just now that those 2 are missing. But all of those parts would be the 6 total parts. And 6 of them would be all of the parts. So that would be 6/6. 6/6 is all of the pan. So if we were to, and you don't necessarily have to draw this, but I'm just going to draw this for you so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about here, is if we were to take that pan, each one of those, after it came out of the oven, it would be one of each one of these would be one of the 6 pieces. Now, when I put them all together, that tells me I have 6/6, all of them. Now, when somebody ate 2 of them, that left me with 4/6 of my fruit bars left. And 2/6 of them were eaten. So depending on what you're counting, are you counting the number of 6 that were eaten? Or are we counting the number of 6 that are still here left to eat? That's what you have to think about when you're writing fractions. What are the pieces that we're counting? In this case, we were counting pieces that were orange and not yellow, but we still looked at all of the pieces to write the denominator. Okay, let's look at number 5. And it says, Miss Grupta bought a pizza. The picture shows what part she ate. Now, the first question says, what fraction of the whole is each piece? That means that if I were going to take this pizza, and I'm just going to show you here, if I draw this pizza on my paper and I was going to label it, or I was going to label each piece, how would I label each one of these pieces? What would I name each one of these pieces? Well, I would name each one of these pieces 1/6. Because each one of these is a piece of the 6 pieces. One of the 6 pieces. Now, that's my first question. So each piece is 1/6. Now it says, how many pieces did she eat? So if we look here, how many pieces were eaten of this pepperoni pizza? We kind of figure it's pepperoni because of the little red dots, right? What fraction of the whole pizza did she eat? Well, if we count the total pieces, which is 6 total pieces, this is my total pieces, right? All the pieces. And we count the number of pieces that were eaten. So now, when I write my fraction, I can write my fraction. 2 pieces were eaten of the 6 pieces. 2 of the 6 pieces. Now, to write that as words, we would write it as 2/6. 2/6 of the pizza was eaten. Okay, number 6 is showing us a triangle, and they're asking us to write the unit fraction that represents each part of the whole. So that's the first thing we need to do. And then it says write the number of green parts and the fraction that represents the green of the whole. So I'm going to just draw my triangle here. I'm going to cut it into 2 equal pieces as best as I can. And I'm going to label each piece 1/2 because it's the unit fraction. Each one of these is one of the 2 pieces. This is one of the 2 pieces. This is one of the 2 pieces. Each one of those is labeled with the unit fraction for each part. Notice it says each part here. Now it's asking me how much of it is green. Well, the green part, we can see, is this piece right here. And that piece right there is 1/2. And to write that in words, we would say 1/2. Okay. Number 7 is a hexagon. How many pieces is the hexagon broken up into? Well, first we've got to look at how many pieces. That's our denominator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 total pieces. Now each one of those is a unit. So 1/6 is the unit part or the unit fraction. Okay. Now the green fraction or the green parts, well, how many of those parts are green? 1, 2, 3, 4. And our denominator is 6. So 4/6 is green. Okay? So 4/6 of that hexagon is green. Not all of it, because if all of it was green, then all 6 pieces would be green. But we want 4 of the 6, 4/6. And to write that as words, I would write it as 4/6 with a TH at the end of the 6. Because remember, we're not talking about the whole number 6. We're talking about the fraction of 6. 6th. It's a piece of a whole. There are 6 equal pieces in the whole. Number 8, the circle is in 4 equal pieces. So I'm just going to draw my circle here. And each one of those pieces is going to be one of the 4 pieces, or my unit fraction is 1/4. So my unit fraction is 1/4 because each one of these pieces is one of the 4 pieces. Now, the green part, I have 1, 2, 3. I have 3/4 because I have 4 total pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, but 3 I'm counting are green. So 3 of the pieces are green of the 4. And to write this in words, I would write it as 3/4. 3/4. Number 9. If I look at number 9, this one's broken up into many smaller pieces. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So each one of those pieces is going to be labeled 8s. I'm just going to draw it real quick here. Using my blue lines to kind of help me make sure that I'm doing equal parts. And each one of these is going to be a 1/8 piece. That's my unit fraction. My unit fraction is 1/8. Now, we notice that these 3 right here and these 2 right here are green. So I'm counting the green parts, and that goes in my numerator because those are the green parts that I'm counting of my total parts, which are 8. So 5/8 of my rectangle is green. 5 of the parts are green of the 8 parts. So I would say 5/8. Notice how I just put a TH at the end of it to make it a fraction of those, of the whole. Okay, number 10 through 17 is your assignment to finish up. We will be going back and checking that tomorrow, and make sure that you guys have your name, date, and page number, and make sure to answer each question carefully with what it's asking you. Okay? I will see you guys on Monday, and have a great weekend. Bye.